What's up, guys? We're here at AMC Town Square with Chasing Cinema.
Mr. James Hsu.com.
And we are here for Jigsaw Saw Part 8.
Saw Part 8. It has been 7 years since audiences gathered and watched a Saw movie in theaters. The last movie being in 2010. And now we finally get Jigsaw. And as we talked about when Saw had the anniversary screening here at AMC, I love these movies. You know,
when did the first Saw first come out?
2004. So it is 13 years.
Good for them,
yeah,
huh?
You know, I mean, because they were pumping them out all year after year after year.
It was a Halloween
and now there was
thing.
the big separation. 2003 maybe it might have actually been released, but 2004 to about 2010 probably makes sense. And they. Just every year, this is what was the commercial? It's Saw, or it's Halloween, so that means it's Saw. And you know, every year we would go at midnight and see the movie. And now, you know, after a long break, we get to return. And while I didn't love every Saw movie, and there are definitely flaws, particularly separating 4 to 7 than 1 to 3. Like 1 and 3, I think are solid. I think you have some kind of foundation to enjoy movies there. And I think while I always still enjoy Charlie Clouser's theme song, and that moment when you get the tape at the very end, the last 15 minutes of every movie is kind of fun. The last ones are kind of hard to chew, especially Final Chapter, which was Saw 7, was released in 3D, where you had guts flying in your face and things like that. Just not very good. I actually watched that just before I came here. I watched all the Saws, and all of my original feelings.
You're an animal, dog.
All of my original feelings held up. 1 is great. 1 is definitely the one to look to. I mean, it was James Wan. I think his first major feature after his short film. You know, the guy who's really dominating the horror space now. He wrote it with Lee Winnell, who was in the movie. He played Adam in the first Saw movie. He also wrote all the Insidious movies. So, I mean, these guys have kind of really started dominating the horror space. They made a short film, got to do Saw, and I think it was like a 20-day shoot.
Yes, it was less than a month.
Yeah, it was less than a month. Barely a budget, and they
like $100K or
they built
something.
a massive franchise. And while people make fun and joke about it, you know, it's obviously made its money, and now it's back. Sir, what's your experience or thoughts going into this with Saw?
I loved part 1, and then at the ending, I was just like, oh my gosh, this is so great. And then, if you want me to just be honest with you, which is the only way we know how to be.
Yeah. 2,
3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I watched all of them in theater.
They all just kind of blend together.
Yep, I don't even understand one thing that's going on, but I watched all of them in theater.
Yeah.
They come out with a Saw 9. I'll watch it. 10. I'll watch it.
Yeah.
But I felt that.
Well, we see everything. So we really don't have it. It doesn't matter what they've given us.
That's true. This one for me was another Saw movie. You know.
Yeah.
I watched it. I enjoyed it. I smiled.
So now we're talking about Jigsaw.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Jigsaw. I saw it. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Won't ever watch it again.
Yeah.
If it's playing on TV, maybe it might get played in the background because it's just playing. It's a Saw movie. I enjoyed it. It was cool.
For someone like, you know, who
like 5 out of 10
has a lot of like guilty feelings, considers like most of the Saw's guilty pleasures. Jigsaw was pretty disappointing.
Underwhelming.
Not even underwhelming, because after the final chapter, you're going in like, okay. And then even the commercials, we talked about this, like even the trailer for this movie wasn't particularly good. But you know, you hope that it kind of reinvokes those emotions. You have that theme song, you have the cassette player, which in this one they got a little bit more high tech, you know, using SD cards and stuff. But yeah, this movie just kind of really kept the trap idea and just kind of let out so much of it by the wayside. It left kind of really the whole foundation of what Saw is about. Yes, they're games and there are supposedly these purposes, but no game ever feels particularly really clever. It's more about let's just think of really silly ways. And a lot of the performances were bad in some of the performances were bad in kind of the later films. In this one, it's just kind of really harsh to watch. Everyone's kind of not that great. One character seemed to get a lot more laughs than he did anything else. When he was being hurt and brutalized, I mean, he just had this very goofy reaction, kind of looked like Judd Apatow. But like the big twist ending and everything didn't feel like a big twist. And while there is this kind of moment, you're like, wait, what? it still doesn't kind of live up to like any hype to where I was really like, oh wow, it feels like Saw. I feel where you were like, it's another Saw movie. I feel like this is just a completely different world. It's not a part of. It's not canon, right? This felt like fan fiction, someone trying to tell another story. But I think those 7 are canon. This one didn't fall into it.
Dang. It happens.
Yeah, it's rough. Do you want to talk spoilers a little bit? Okay. No, you don't?
Yeah, if you want, it's up to you.
So did you, what were your like thoughts going in? So spoilers, if you've not seen the movie, you don't want to know.
Can you remember what time it is? I know.
Don't fast forward or just come back later. So John Kramer, we have this really great scene where we see the old cloak. We lift back the hood, and it's John Kramer.
I thought it was him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was him. I was hoping it was him, and then at the end when they reveal it's that everything with him is all 10 years ago. It was disappointing for me because I was just like, to me it's like, okay, we've dealt with John Kramer for 8 films now.
Yeah.
Just let him be. Just end it. Let someone else take the mantle, but just no more of this.
Well, I mean, there were so many theories because we were going. Louis Vuitton said like, "Oh, it's a twin brother type of deal," which I was like cringing at the thought of. But I was like, "Oh, like a brother thing makes sense." But then when they actually revealed John Kramer, I was like, "Oh my God, it is a twin brother thing." My mind, unfortunately, like even though knowing Saw has done that before, where they show you things that happened years ago and not in the moment. Especially after watching them, I was like, "Oh my God, they've done this before." I really should have picked up on it, but I didn't. I was just like, "Oh man!" And then I was like, "Of all things, he's so healthy looking." I was like, "This man not only like survived death, but he's like doing very well." Yeah, I didn't know where they were going, but I will say, like, as much as I was like, "Oh no, they brought Jigsaw back to life," like, how do you explain that? I was kind of over that in the next few minutes. Was just like, whatever, man. Like, if they want to make him like Michael Myers, this unkillable being, that's fine. But I was hoping because that movie would pay off, and it didn't. So
I just wish they would just end it with. Even though I love the character, but it's done.
Yeah, it is done. Well, I mean,
let's continue Saw and let's continue. But
so you want no longer John Kramer? To me, the thing that's confusing is just like you left the last movie off on this huge twist where, well, not huge. I mean, everyone kind of knew it by the time we got to film 7 that Dr. Gordon, a spoiler alert for the other Saw films.
We're still in spoilers.
Yeah. Well, just in case someone hadn't seen 7 and they didn't want to watch spoilers for this. Because 7, this is spoilers. But if you haven't seen it, it's been 8 years, so it's your fault. Dr. Gordon is like part of the apprenticeship, and he has 2 other people that are never unmasked. And I'm like, why don't we just pick up there? Why is that not even mentioned here? And like the apprentice thing, like it's this really interesting thought that Jigsaw is this mastermind.
It's like Star Wars.
And then the next one we find out that he has some help, and you're like, okay. And then we find out he has another help. I mean, he ends up I think like now we have 6 helpers at least, like 6 main helpers with all of his. So like Jigsaw's not really that much of a genius, and the whole thing was. He's this genius engineer. He made all of his designs. Like that was like the big thing about the mask that Amanda survives, the bear trap. And in this one, we find out at the very end that he helped make it. And you're just like, oh man, this is kind of tacky. So I don't know. I mean, to me, I'm just gonna kind of ignore this one and just kind of keep it away from the original 7 because the 7 still, while very wacky towards the end, still feel like they all feel consistent. And this one just feels like a very different movie. So, unfortunately, not a fan, and I've defended a lot of bad Jigsaw movie or Saw movies. So, if it's this disappointing, it's hard to get to. It's kind of laughable though. Like if you want to come and just kind of laugh about the ridiculousness, I think it's it.
I did.
Yeah, especially the end, like the big dun 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 dun. It was like the guy who was kind of the guy who takes the reins. Just is not very charismatic. He's not very believable, and it's just I was bummed.
It happens. We also have
just in time for Halloween.
Yes, we also have reviews for
All I See Is You and
Christopher Robin.
Goodbye, Christopher Robin. Yes, all those. Click that wide eye. Also, it is time for Halloween, which means for the past 4 years I've released a list of how to survive a horror movie. I do it every year. This year it'll be coming out this Monday, so you could go to chasingcinema.com. I'll have a link up there, and or follow me on Twitter. That's probably the best way. And then
twitter.com/chasing cinema.
Either or, because Chasing Cinema will retweet, but twitter.com/Chasing Cinema, twitter.com/Jacob Toronto. And then next week, if I'm not mistaken, we're going to
Asgard.
Yeah.
And
Thor.
we're going to Ragnarok.
Yeah, next week. I'm really pumped. One of the more
I think
anticipated movies.
98% on Rotten Tomatoes.
I'm pumped. I think
Taika Waititi.
Yeah. And I just think overall November looks really good.
Justice
and
League.
then we know we're gonna get some good stuff in December.
Zoom.
So we're kind of at that point now where it's like, okay, this is it, guys. This is we're getting to the good stuff. So hopefully this is the last kind of
Murder on
bumpy
the Orient
week.
Express.
I'm excited for that. You know, Agatha Christie's classic novel. You know, there is an older film if you are one of those people who kind of want to seek out the originals. Sean Connery, not a very good Sean
Is in the
Connery
original?
imitation. Is in the original
I didn't know
Orient Express.
How was that one?
I had never seen the original Orient Express, and I was going to try to read the book and watch the original to, like, you know, kind of just look. But then I was like, well, then I'll know. Like, I'd rather kind of go into this and then.
You think they're gonna keep the same murder?
I would assume so. I mean, I think if you especially want to kind of market to people who've loved this story, you want to kind of keep it. But I would think they're gonna have to throw some twist in there. But I'd rather just go in, see it, and then I'll kind of go back and compare.
You know what would be really cool? If they did what they did with Clue.
Like multiple endings.
And then depending on the theater you go to, it's a different killer.
Yeah.
Or different state.
I don't think they've ever done anything like that
They did that
since.
for Clue. Oh,
If you don't know the story, Clue, which of course is based on the
Board game.
Hasbro Brothers board game, had this movie where, of course, the point is to figure out who's done it. The newspaper would have 3 letters, A, B, or C. Every theater would have a letter next to it, and that would signify what ending it was. So you'd have to pay 3 times to see all 3 endings.
I think that's cool.
That is genius, and like it was kind of
Good
really
way to
fun
get
idea.
people to keep on going.
Unfortunately, Paramount released these movies and didn't know which ending was which, so there was like this huge confusion. It didn't really work out that great, but once you get the DVD, you could watch it with one ending, and they'll pick at random, or you could watch all 3. Anyway, we're getting off track. That would be cool though, but I'm sure you know, the diehard Agatha Christie fans and people who really care about her work want to see it kind of replicated in modern fashion.
It's Daisy Ridley.
Yeah, Daisy. Oh, that's your call?
No.
Is that your prediction?
I have no idea.
We should do it. We should have like a little bet and see if anyone thinks. So James has Ray doing it.
I lost already.
I would want to think Johnny Depp because Johnny Depp ends up always being that guy, but I don't know. We'll have to find out. Yeah. So anyway, November's going to be great. I don't see a week that you shouldn't come join us here at AMC Town Square at 10 o'clock.
And the smartest thing to do is comment below and let us know.
Yeah, where you want to go.
And then you can find us on social medias and then
All that
hit
fun
us
stuff.
up and be like, hey, I want to go to the movie with you
Yeah.
guys in a private theater where no one bothers you.
And
Enter.
then once you've
And
seen
good-looking people.
Yeah, of course, and great people. You know, people who aren't yelling during the movie or on their phone. And then when you're like, you know what? After I've seen this great movie, I'm inspired to do something great with my life. Then you should check out Mr. James Hsu's channel, because Mr. James Hsu can teach you all the great things about life. Because I can tell you what, if a movie's good or not, but this guy can really make a difference in your life. So go check out his channel, and I think that wraps up
ChasingCinema.com is known as
the Film Lovers website.